I can't even use the word recover, but to try to reorient, because if you were anything like me, you felt like you were floating out of your body for a couple of days, and it's a very odd feeling to feel like life goes on after someone dies, especially after someone close to you dies, especially after someone dies tragically. But I was able, I'll just say, to put my phone down and disconnect all day on Sunday and spend some time with my family, and it was incredibly healing. We took some friends to mass with us who hadn't been to mass since for the past 5 or 6 years, and it was that part was really wonderful. And we're going to talk a little bit today. We have a lot of things to talk about. Um I think the first thing that I want to say today is even and I wrote a book about this. Even I didn't realize the sheer number of leftists in our country who want us all dead. And I'm not talking about theoretically. I'm not talking about they don't want us canceled. They don't just want us censored and debanked and shamed and socially ostracized. They actually want us dead. And even I didn't realize that this was a mainstream leftist viewpoint. And it's so jarring. It's so jarring. I When I say I wrote the book, I literally wrote the book on the origins of the transgender ideology 2 years ago. I read the founding documents of queer theory, which is the underpinning ideology of the transgender ideology. I know that it's not just about gender dysphoria. I know that it's radical. I know that it's violent. I know that it's inherently revolutionary. I've been warning about this for literally years. My life was changed by writing that book because before I wrote that book, I understood that the transgender ideology was bad. I understood that it was anti-biology, that it was damaging, that it even seemed demonic. But after I wrote that book, my whole worldview was changed on how we on the right fight and what we've gotten wrong and what we need to do. And I thought, again, as the author of the book on queer theory, the origin of the transgender ideology, even I thought that this vicious, anti-human, deadly worldview was relegated to the most radical. That it was like the leaders of Black Lives Matter and the Antifa terrorists who set up the autonomous zones and the trans killers that we see. And it's so gut-wrenching to realize, and I know I'm not alone in this. I've been reading your comments, and I can't even tell you how many text messages and phone calls and DMs I've gotten, not only from, my friends and my family, but people who don't typically pay attention to politics, who I'm just friends with or have known in my past or casually connected with, who are extremely rattled by the reality that it is now mainstream leftist thought that's rejoicing that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So what I want to talk about on the show today is a couple of things. I want to talk about the radical transgender cell that is or seems connected to Charlie Kirk's assassin. We now have at least circumstantial evidence that Tyler Robinson, the man who assassinated Charlie Kirk, was connected to a radical transgender cell. And the FBI is investigating this. I also want all of us to understand that at this moment, we are being subject to a massive propaganda operation. I'm talking deception of wartime levels. And I want to talk about what that means for us. And I also want to have a hard conversation. Because unless we want to accept political assassinations like Charlie's as a part of our reality in this country, and we don't want that, there are some hard things that need to be done to combat the first thing that I mentioned, that there are in our country tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people whose minds have been captured by an ideology that wants us dead. So we're going to talk about all of this today on the Liz Wheeler Show. I also want to say, though, this weekend, while full of pain and grief, was also not without hope. Hope in the midst of darkness. I said this last week, I believe it was on Thursday's show. A lion has been awakened in our country. I've never seen anything like this. And there's evidence of the impact of this lion that's been awakened. The social media accounts that are associated with Charlie Kirk and his wife, Erica Kirk, and Turning Point USA saw increases of epic proportions over the past 4 days. I'm talking, if you're talking Charlie's Instagram, Erica's Instagram, their Facebook accounts, Turning Point USA's accounts, X, all of these different social media accounts, these cumulatively have gained at least 23.3 million followers. And that was numbers pulled from last night. That's not even the most up-to-date numbers in the last couple of hours. On Instagram, Charlie Kirk's account gained 5 million followers. He now has a total of 12.2 million. 12.2 million. That's almost tripling. Erica's went from 4.6 to 5.2 as of today. Turning Point's, their Instagram account went from 2.2 million to now 5.8 million as of today. Again, almost tripling. The Charlie Kirk Facebook page gained 3 million followers for a total of 8 million. The Turning Point USA Facebook went from 2.9 million to 7.2 million. Tell me, are you not getting the chills? Wait till you hear this number. On TikTok, where the young people are. On TikTok, the Charlie Kirk Show account gained 2 million followers for a total of 9.3 million. Charlie Kirk's personal account gained over 1 million for a total of 4.1. His YouTube more than quadrupled, or his YouTube gained, I should say, 900,000, almost 1 million subscribers. The same with Turning Point. I mean, these numbers are astronomical. 23 million new people began to watch Charlie Kirk over the course of the past couple of days. A lion has been awakened. The Turning Point USA chapter establishment request, this is according to Andrew Colvett, who is a wonderful human being. I've known him for a long time. He is the producer of the Charlie Kirk Show. He was with Charlie in Utah. He shared this on X yesterday. He said, I wanted to share a PACE report from Turning Point USA. The organization has received over 32,000 inquiries in the last 48 hours to start new campus chapters. To put that in perspective, Andrew says, TPUSA currently has 900 official college chapters and around 1,200 high school chapters with a presence on 3,500 total. Charlie's vision to have a Club America chapter, our high school brand, in every high school in America, that would be around 23,000 high schools, will come true much, much faster than he could have possibly imagined. Truly incredible, Andrew said. The vigils that spontaneously popped up around our nation at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., the place was packed. You could barely find a seat. The crowd went absolutely crazy when Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr., came on stage. Take a look at this. And by the way, RFK Jr., says that Charlie Kirk was the primary architect of the unification between RFK Jr. and President Trump. This marriage between Maha and Mega was due to Charlie Kirk. Take a look.
And over the next couple of years, our friendship blossomed. He ended up being the primary architect of my unification with President Trump, which I did my endorsement at his rally, at the Turning Point rally in Scottsdale. And he was the one who put the sparklers on the stage when I shook it. He made a big show of it. But
you know the one. The sparklers on stage made that photo. Listen, it's going to be a long process of healing in our country, because not only because of this tremendous loss of our friend Charlie Kirk, but because of the political implications of the assassination of a podcast host who was championing free speech on a college campus and the subsequent celebration by the left. We have a long road in front of us. But at the same time, I am not sure that there has ever been a moment in our nation where more people felt like Jesus Christ is calling you now. If you've ever thought about going to church, do it now. Go to Mass, walk in, cross yourself, ask the Holy Spirit to lead you to Christ, and He will. And this spiritual revival, it's not just a political reaction to a horrific political event. The spiritual revival that we are beginning to see is being led by Charlie's widow, Erica Kirk, who in the midst of, I can't even fathom, unimaginable pain and grief, she remembers in this moment of pain to call out to our God who is so good. Take a look.
One of Charlie's favorite Bible verses was Ephesians 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children. He showed the ultimate and true covenantal love. I will never, ever have the words to describe the loss that I feel in my heart. I honestly have no idea what any of this means. I know that God does, but I don't. But Charlie, baby, I know you do too. I know you do. So does our Lord. And our world is filled with evil. But our God, you guys, our God is so good. He's so incredibly good. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose.
And that right there is the Holy Spirit working through Erica Kirk. You know, Peachy Keenan on X had an idea that I think we should all get on board with. If there's anybody who's sitting with us here today who has the technological savvy to put this together, please reach out. She said, all the Charlie Kirk videos responding to questions should be clipped, categorized by topic, made searchable, and the database made available on the TPUSA website and also in an app for students. He left an incredible encyclopedia of how to deal with the left and how to address all our various social and cultural issues. Peachy says, I personally would like this to help make better arguments. And she says, I wonder if Data Republican could help. If you can help with this, think of the number of people who are feeling this call, a call towards Christ, a call away from the demonic left, a call towards reality and objective truth. I know that you're jarred too by the reality of the left's bloodlust against us. That's not something that you process away in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days. That's something that's going to remain not just with us for a long time, it's going to remain a part of us and a part of our country forever. But there are things that we can do. And one of the things that we can do is something that Stephen Miller said that Charlie Kirk texted him about the day before Charlie's murder. And I want to talk about that with you in just a second. But I want to take a moment and I want to thank our sponsor for today's episode. And guys, I want you to understand too, this has become especially clear since Charlie's murder. The companies and the organizations that advertise with us aren't just business partners. They understand that associating with right-wingers and conservatives is sometimes a risk to their business. And so if you possibly can, go support them today because they are brave and they are courageous and they are standing with us despite the blowback that they might receive because of it. Our sponsor for today is All Family Pharmacy. You know All Family Pharmacy. I know All Family Pharmacy. We don't like to be told what to do when it comes to our healthcare, when it comes to which medications work best for us. We don't want Fauci and big pharma and big government telling us that we can't have ivermectin when we know ivermectin is what helps a certain something. If what I'm describing fits your experience, you can't get prescriptions for affordable off-patent medications or insurance won't cover what actually works, well, you're not alone. Millions of other Americans are also frustrated with our healthcare system because it's not just broken, it is corrupt. All Family Pharmacy is your alternative. They are a patient-first independent pharmacy. The reason they exist is because they respect your medical freedom and they want to serve your needs. How it works is they connect you with licensed U.S. doctors who approve your prescriptions online. It's fast, it's legal. So there's no gatekeeping involved here. There's no insurance middlemen, no red tape. They offer affordable, high-demand medications that are often hard to access for political reasons, typically, like ivermectin, for example, at All Family Pharmacy, it starts at just $2. Methbendazole, hydroxychloroquine, antibiotics, NAD. You order online. It takes just minutes. Then a licensed doctor reviews and approves your prescription. Your medication ships straight to your door. So no clinic visit required, no hassle. Everything is secure. It's HIPAA compliant. It's pharmacist reviewed. You choose the medication, not an insurance company or a scared physician. Real healthcare freedom means you decide what's right for your body. It is time to put your medical freedom back in your hands. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Liz. And because you are part of this movement, use my code Liz10 at checkout for an exclusive discount. It's your health. It should be your choice. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Liz. Use code Liz10. Thank you to All Family Pharmacy for the courage to stand with us on the Liz Wheeler Show. We greatly appreciate you, not just for what you do, but for your moral courage as well. All right. We now have circumstantial evidence that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was trans violence. You can call the shooter a transgender shooter if you want. I know I did on X, and some people criticized me for describing the shooter as a transgender shooter because Tyler Robinson himself wasn't transing. He wasn't on hormones. He hadn't had surgery. He wasn't socially transing. But that's not what I meant. What I meant is that this shooter was captured by the transgender ideology because the transgender ideology isn't actually even primarily about the violence that it inflicts on young people's bodies. It's about a capture of the mind. So it is perfectly accurate. I give you permission, if you need it, to describe Tyler Robinson, to describe the assassination of Charlie Kirk as transgender violence, because that is an accurate description of what it was. The shooter, Tyler Robinson, was in a romantic relationship with another man. The other man named Lance Twiggs. Sometimes Lance Twiggs went by the name Luna Twiggs because Lance identified as transgender and was reportedly undergoing transition. We now have circumstantial evidence, though, that the shooter was not only captured mentally by the transgender ideology by nature of being in a romantic relationship with someone who was transing, but that the shooter was connected to a radical trans network or a radical transgender cell. And this would have been through this transgender boyfriend. So Lance Twiggs, this romantic partner of Tyler Robinson, was identified as transgender, but family members who were interviewed about Lance Twiggs said that they, for years, had been afraid of Lance Twiggs because of what he had said he wanted to do to other people. This is according to Wisconsin Right Now. And I'm reading this report. Lance Twiggs was named as the roommate of accused Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson by both the New York Post and the Daily Mail. After those reports, Wisconsin Right Now reached 2 family members of Twiggs by phone on September 13th. The first family member declined to comment and hung up. The second family member confirmed the information in the Post and the Daily Mail stories, but also provided additional details to Wisconsin Right Now that no one has reported yet. For starters, the family member, who has not spoken to other members of the news media, alleged that Twiggs harbored animosity towards conservatives and Christians, confirmed that Twiggs was transgender/transitioning, and said that Robinson was allegedly Twiggs's boyfriend. He, Lance Twiggs, alleged the family member, is very angry with anyone who is supportive of conservative ideals and Christian values. As far as I know, the family member said, he was not going by another name. I just know that he was in the process of transitioning. I know he was trying to take different medications, alleged the relative of Lance, whom the family member had avoided for about 4 years out of concerns over Twiggs' alleged temperament. Now, Wisconsin Right Now says, to be clear, authorities have not accused Lance Twiggs of criminal wrongdoing or culpability in connection with Kirk's death. A roommate was mentioned in the Utah governor's press conference, although he was not named. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said that the roommate gave authorities messages from Robinson that referred to a rifle and bullet engravings. After this article first ran, Cox appeared on television and confirmed Robinson's roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. I can say, this is the quote of Utah Governor Spencer Cox, that he's been incredibly cooperative. This partner's been very cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, end quote. And in a moment, we'll get to whether or not that seems realistic or not. The article continues by saying, although authorities are still investigating the motive, the governor revealed that Robinson had a leftist ideology. Clearly a leftist ideology, Cox said on NBC's Meet the Press. The information came from people around him, his family members and friends. Twiggs's family members shed more light on Twiggs in the interview. They did live together, the family member of Lance Twiggs told Wisconsin Right Now. The relative told Wisconsin Right Now about having heard secondhand from other family members that Lance had allegedly, quote, wished horrible things on people. I've really distanced, the relative said. There was allegedly evil inside and only getting worse. Only getting worse. The shaken relative, who almost broke down in tears at one point during the interview, asked not to be named. The relative alleged that Lance Twiggs is, quote, not mentally well at all. Asked whether Lance was transgender and transitioning, the family member alleged, this is true. I can't be sure of when it started. I have suspicions it would have been about 4 years ago. This individual, Lance Twiggs, who allegedly went by the name of Luna, at least sometimes, was reportedly connected on social media with radical transgender networks. And by the way, for the mainstream media outlets who are calling Lance Twiggs, not by name, but just generic, oh, Tyler Robinson's roommate who's been cooperating with police, that is not an accurate picture that you're painting of the reality of the situation inside that apartment building. A neighbor of Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs said that the 2 men, Tyler and Lance, were a couple. You can take a listen to what this neighbor said.
Were they holding hands?
Yeah, they were. So, yeah, they drove off in his car, the Dodge Challenger.
The time you saw them or this week?
It was about the time I saw them. So
Okay, how long ago was that?
I would say about 2 weeks ago.
And so they looked like they were a couple?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was dressed all in black?
Yeah, definitely.
And you thought he was weird?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
What was weird about him?
Just the way he walked and just the way I've seen him. I've never seen really anybody dressed all in black with a mask on, and I thought that was just quite weird.
For those who've never seen the roommate, describe that person for us.
He did have freckles on his face. For the haircut, he did have, it was a weird haircut. I can't quite, it was kind of a mushroom shaped one. Yeah, he was, I would say, he didn't come out much, but definitely a few other, like, just a little bit at a time.
There's some published reports out there that this individual, the roommate, may have been transitioning. Did that correlate with what you saw?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so he was going to have an operation to be to turn into a woman.
Yeah, and I think he's getting ready for that.
Sorry, in what way do you think that?
I remember them talking about a doctor's appointment. It was about 2 weeks ago, I would say.
And they were kissing?
Yeah.
Do you know, where did you see them kissing?
Just coming out. I was riding with my bike, so I didn't see the whole thing, but yeah, I saw them.
And when did you hear them talking about a doctor's appointment?
I would say about the same time that they came out, so that one time, yeah.
And where were you standing for that?
I was just riding by here.
Okay.
So.
And you were able to hear snippets of their conversation?
Yeah. Yep.
But you were sure that they were a couple, but you have only seen them together once?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, random guys got both hands and definitely don't kiss. So, I would have tried.
For all the mainstream media outlets who want to describe Lance Twiggs as just a roommate, I suggest that you listen to that video. That's a former neighbor of Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs, who said that he not only heard them talking about a doctor's appointment, that the appearance of Lance Twiggs was the appearance of someone, quote unquote, transitioning, and that the two of them, Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs, were holding hands and kissing, which is not something random guys or just roommates go around and do. Lance Twiggs might be the key to unlocking exactly how this shooting went down. According to the Free Beacon, the FBI is now investigating social media accounts, especially social media accounts in the Utah area that posted about Kirk's death in advance of the day that Charlie Kirk was shot. This is what the Free Beacon reports. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is investigating social media posts by at least 7 different accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This according to 3 people familiar with the investigation and screenshots obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. The posts, one of which referenced the date of Kirk's assassination, September 10th, more than a month before it took place, were all deleted in the days following the killing. Several of the accounts appear to belong to transgender individuals, and at least one of them followed suspect Tyler Robinson's roommate, with whom Robinson was allegedly in a relationship, on TikTok. The FBI has received archived copies of the posts, according to a person who flagged them for the agency. Screenshots of the posts have been circulating online but had not previously been authenticated. While the posts do not establish that any of the individuals knew or conspired with Robinson, this is what the Free Beacon is writing, the 22-year-old gunman who allegedly shot Kirk, several of them mention the conservative activist by name and fantasize about his death. For example, one X account posted on September 3rd of 2025, it'd, quote, "It'd be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th, LMAO. Another account posted on August 6th, that's more than a month before the shooting, that, quote, "September 10th will be a very interesting day." After Kirk's assassination, that same account followed up by saying, "I plead the 5th. The Free Beacon says the morbid quip was reposted by an account named Churbum75M, saw Tyler June 30th, who appears to follow Robinson's roommate, Lance Twiggs, on TikTok, where Twiggs' username is as follows. This is more than just a connection. Minutes after Kirk was pronounced dead, this same account posted on X and said, "We effing did it." Several of the accounts under investigation appear to be associated with LGBT subcultures. One individual has a handle that references a genre of anime that depicts romantic relationships between men. Another user who had wished death to Kirk and predicted that, quote, something big will happen when he set foot on campus, had identified as non-binary on X. And in a video posted on TikTok the night before the shooting, this is per the Free Beacon, an individual who appears to be transgender wrote that, quote, Charles James Kirk does not know what's coming tomorrow. This isn't a threat, the individual added. It's a promise. The Free Beacon says the investigation of the post comes as the FBI is already examining whether pro-transgender groups knew about Robinson's plans in advance. That probe, and I want to go to the New York Post and read, that probe is ongoing. This is according to the New York Post. So it's not just individuals who appear to be LGBTQIA, transgender, or non-binary who are connected with Lance Twiggs, the alleged lover of Charlie's assassin, Tyler Robinson. It is radical transgender groups or a transgender cell that seems to have had some foreknowledge of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is according to the New York Post. The feds have widened their investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk to probe whether pro-trans online groups and others connected with Tyler Robinson knew in advance about the plan to kill the mega influencer, the Post has learned. Law enforcement said that investigators are examining leftist groups both in Utah and online to figure out if they helped him with the shooting or at least heard it was going to happen. The probe includes groups in online gaming community Stream, as well as pro-trans organization called Armed Queers SLC, which took down their Instagram after Kirk was killed. Meanwhile, a slew of disturbing, and this is according to the Post, though as yet unverified, I think since this article has been published, the FBI has essentially confirmed their authenticity because they're investigating him. Social media posts about Kirk are raising questions about whether some people online might have known about the assassination before it happened on September 10th. Let me just say, thank goodness, thank God that President Trump is president right now. Because President Trump, he's on video saying this. I think we have this video saying that he understands this was not an isolated crime that was committed. This is not, both sides need to tone down their rhetoric. President Trump understands that there is a subculture of anti-Americanism, pro-communist, anti-humanity that is now mainstream on the left, not the right, on the left. Take a look at this.
The problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. And when you look at the agitators, you look at the scum that speaks so badly of our country, the American flag burnings all over the place, that's the left, that's not the right.
Okay, and this is one of the most important points that I want to make today. Understand, it's important that you understand at this moment that you are currently being subjected to a massive propaganda operation by the left. I'm talking wartime levels of deception are engaged against you right now. The entire leftist apparatus has been activated. The mainstream media, lefty talking heads that go on cable news, Democrat politicians who are in elected office, celebrities, leftist influencers on X and on TikTok, all of them. They're lying. They're telling you that Charlie Kirk's assassin was a Republican because allegedly his parents may have been. We don't know that yet. But was Charlie Kirk's assassin a Republican? That is demonstrably false. All concrete evidence shows that Charlie's shooter, Tyler Robinson, was a committed leftist. His high school friend, and this was confirmed days ago by The Guardian, his high school friend says Robinson was left-wing on almost every political issue. The governor of Utah, Governor Cox, says Robinson was deeply entrenched in leftist ideology. Robinson roomed with his transgender boyfriend. Charlie Kirk's killer was a leftist, period. And the thing is, you can see this with your own eyes. Believe yourself. I cannot overstate how important it is that you trust what you're seeing. Because the left also knows that Charlie Kirk's assassin was a leftist. But they cannot have you know this. Charlie Kirk was murdered because the mainstream media and the left and Democrat politicians up to the highest echelons, I'm talking led by former President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, have spent the past decade dehumanizing you and vilifying all Republicans constantly, viciously, falsely accusing us of being Hitler, fascists, dictators, authoritarian, hateful, homophobic, xenophobic, transphobic, bigoted. And this onslaught of bile has been effective. And I hate to even say that because it's tragic, but it has been effective. It's like a brain worm, and it's infected the minds of a shocking, you're shocked by this, I'm shocked by this, a shocking number of people in our nation, people you're friends with on Facebook, people you work with, people you went to high school with, people who you thought were normal, who are now ghoulishly celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And meanwhile, the public school system and our colleges and universities intentionally drum into the impressionable minds of children pernicious lies that America is evil, that Christians are bigoted, that speech is violence, that truth is relative. They create a moral vacuum in the minds of our children. And in this moral vacuum, they pour into children's minds poisonous Marxist ideologies like critical race theory and queer theory, which is the transgender ideology. And the result of this is a bullet into Charlie Kirk's neck. The left, quite literally, intentionally creates killers like Tyler Robinson. And the left cannot allow you to understand that the left is to blame for Charlie's murder. They can't. But it is so important today that we understand the truth is so clear. If the left had not screeched that we're Hitler incessantly for a decade, if public schools and colleges hadn't relentlessly indoctrinated our youth into Marxism, then Charlie might still be alive. Our nation is rocked by Charlie's assassination, and rightly so. If there's a moment that America will finally reject the vicious, violent leftist ideology, this is that moment. Which is also why the left is so paranoid, because they understand that in this moment, they risk losing all. And so they're reacting by running an op on you. They're gaslighting you. They are drenching you with lies. But I want to be very clear today, as we're sitting here together, you must reject their evil brainwashing. Reject it as if our country depends on it. Because it does. Even the director of the FBI, by the way, spoke publicly in a way that he does not often do, confirming that Tyler Robinson is a leftist. Take a look at this.
My job as FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions. But I believe in this instance of such public importance, the public has a right to know. And I've told you I'm committed to transparency, and that's what I'm doing here today.
Why didn't that person that he was talking to, why didn't that person say something?
Our investigation is ongoing. That's a great question, and we don't have an answer on that just yet.
And good for Director Patel. Factually accurate investigative findings by the FBI, and the public needs to know. Tyler Robinson wasn't in the middle. He wasn't a centrist. He didn't think that Charlie Kirk was too conservative, like I've seen so many leftist influencers. That's a lie they've been peddling. He was on the left. And listen, one of the hardest things that, for me, one of the things that I struggle with after someone close to me dies is this acceptance that life goes on. The sun rises and the sun sets, and we have to take care of our children and do our chores and go to work and go to the grocery store and fill our cars up with gas, and we're going to have fun again at some point. And it's such a hard concept for me. This is one of the things that I struggle with the most when someone close to me dies. It's just the fact that life goes on. It seems ugly that life goes on without this person. But we are also facing a situation right now where we have to make a decision as a nation whether we are going to accept as a reality political assassinations like Charlie, or whether we are actually going to do something to stop the production of these killers. For example, we have been complaining about liberal bias on college campuses for decades. I've heard about this since the earliest time that I even knew what a college and university was. Oh, colleges are kind of leftist. Good luck to conservatives on campus. You might face discrimination. That was, when I was a young teenager. It only escalated from there. The only way that we stop the evil that had captured the mind and body of Charlie Kirk's assassin is to raise the colleges and universities that serve as indoctrination centers. They indoctrinate students and turn them into hardened Marxist revolutionaries. And people are going to say, Liz, don't you think that's a little bit too extreme? Get rid of colleges and universities. You heard me. It doesn't. How many times are we going to experience situations where it doesn't matter how these students were raised? They might have come from Christian households. Their parents might be stably married. They might have been pretty normal, maybe even conservative, maybe politically apathetic before they went to college. Then they go to college and they come out not just bleeding heart liberal, they come out evil. College turns them evil on purpose. Why are we sacrificing our children to this? We have been complaining about liberal bias on college campuses for 3 decades. It's not bias, people. It's radicalization. Are we actually going to do something to stop it? Listen, President Trump should immediately deny every penny of federal funding. I'm talking research grants, federally subsidized student loans from all colleges that propagate communist or Marxist or anti-American ideology. Squeeze them out of existence. And some people are going to say, Liz, that sounds like McCarthyism 2.0, the Red Scare, let's hunt down the communists. Yeah, that's exactly right. Damn straight it is. Root out communism and Marxism from the United States. Prosecute individuals and institutions that indoctrinate kids with communism. Again, you heard me. We have laws on the books already that make it illegal to advocate for the violent overthrow of the U.S. government. Laws against inciting imminent violence, laws against terrorism, laws against conspiracy. Use them. This Marxist Muslim whack job in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, this guy should have been a wake-up call for us. The reality that an open communist is winning the mayoral election in New York City because voters in New York City are college indoctrinated communists too, that should tell us everything that we need to know. And yet, time and time again, conservatives didn't pay attention. Now we must, young people embracing communist ideologies are not fringe in numbers. Look at the sheer volume of X posts celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder if you want to see grisly evidence of that. It won't be enough to execute Charlie's killer, even public execution. That will assuage people's feelings for a moment, maybe. But it won't stop the communists who are at war with us from within. The only way to stop this is to cut off the institutional head of the state, to identify the people and the institutions brainwashing youth with violent communist ideology and crush them with the law. Listen, go on Grok. I did this over the weekend. I recommend that you do this too. Pull up your Grok app, whether you use it on X or you have the app, and type in Grok. This is the exact prompt I put in Grok. I said, in what different ways do colleges and universities get money directly or indirectly from the government? I highly recommend go read the answer to that prompt. And then as a follow-up, ask Grok, would colleges be forced to shut down if all direct and indirect government funding was cut off? It's eye-opening. We have the power to change this mass indoctrination of young people in our nation. President Trump, it is imperative that we stop the deadly communist indoctrination of our young men and women. It is happening at college. Normal students entering college are graduating as hardened anti-American revolutionaries. It's a pipeline. It's intentional. It's designed. We're creating these people. And it doesn't have to be that way. Mr. President, you can stop it. And I know you're committed to defending Charlie's legacy. You were his friend. He loved you. And I know you loved him. That's what his wife said during her speech. We have to raise the universities that are indoctrination centers for deadly Marxist ideology, all of them. Deprive them of every dime of government money. State budgets give them money. Federal appropriations give them money. They get money from Pell Grants and research grants, student loans and Medicaid. Take away every penny until they crumble into dust. And prosecute individuals who indoctrinate kids with communism. Again, there are plenty of laws on the books for this. Every sicko who's celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder online, tell their parents. Report them to their school. Contact their employer. No, it is not cancel culture. Now it's self-defense. It must be done. Infiltrate the radical trans groups with federal law enforcement. The Black Lives Matter racial Marxist groups, Antifa, Soros, or Roy Singham-funded subversives. Law enforcement and the government needs to break these subversive anti-American cells up. And public schools, K to 12 across the country, are not without blame either. Public schools should be forced to teach pro-American, pro-Western civilization, yes, pro-Christian curriculum. They should force a mandatory class every year starting in 5th grade called All the Speeches and Work of the Great Charlie Kirk. You do those 5 things and you will be well on your way to protecting the United States of America from having to accept that grisly assassinations like that of our friend Charlie Kirk as something that's normal, that's common. I refuse to accept that. I refuse to accept that. I want to take a moment and thank you for watching and listening to this show. It's because of you that we're able to keep producing content like this. Listen, Blaze TV exists because people like you refuse to fall for the massive propaganda operation that is the mainstream media. Blaze TV has never been about one voice or even one company. It is about us, a movement of people who refuse to sit on the sidelines as people who hate us try to take over our country, capture the minds of our children, and kill our friends. This is why Blaze TV matters. This is why I'm so proud to be a part of Blaze TV. By subscribing, you are standing shoulder to shoulder with a community that believes America is worth fighting for. Blaze Media only exists because people like you step up and join us and help drive the mission forward. When you subscribe, you're not just supporting a show, you're making your voice count. You're ensuring that truth has a platform today and for the next generation. Join Blaze TV today at blazetv.com/Liz. That's blazetv.com/Liz. Thank you for sitting here with me today. I want to thank each and every one of you who has reached out to me over the course of the past 4 days. I haven't been able to respond to everybody, but your words and your prayers mean the world for our country. None of this, yes, Charlie was a friend. I'd known him for decades. We grew up in the movement together. But this is in no way about me. This is about our country. This is about this nation that has given us the opportunity through the liberty that you and I seek to protect every day, given us the liberty not to live of this world, but to live with our eyes on eternity. And that's exactly what Charlie was doing. So as I said, I know that there's always a little ribbing, a little joshing, a little making fun of me when I say go to church, because people are like, oh, you're getting preachy, Liz. I don't care. I don't care if it sounds preachy. God is calling you. God loves you. If you've ever felt that inclination, go to mass. Go to mass. God loves you and he has great things for your life. He doesn't call people just special people like Charlie. He calls every one of us to something great. Go find out what that greatness God is calling you to is. And the place to start is getting to know your God. And the best place to get to know your God is by going to mass and encountering him and reading his word and studying the great works of the church fathers, his apostles and the disciples of the apostles. Encounter Jesus and you won't be able to do anything but love him, and you will discern your vocation and the greatness that he calls you to, all because this is preachy, isn't it? Because it's all part of the glorification of his kingdom. And let me wrap up by saying I am grateful for each and every one of you, and we will keep fighting this fight because it matters more even than just for our country. It matters for our eternal life. I love you all. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so you know when we go live. I know we were a little bit late going live today because Vice President J.D. Vance is guest hosting Charlie Kirk's radio show, but make sure you hit that notification button on YouTube is what I'm trying to say, so that you too can know when we go live, when we're running a little bit late. On Spotify, search The Liz Wheeler Show. Subscribe over there. Leave us a 5-star review. Thanks for being here. I'm Liz Wheeler. This is The Liz Wheeler Show.